So bring a pair of gloves and help spruce up Devon with BBC Radio Devon.
Now, research by boffins at Exeter University shows we make 270 million visits to the seaside every year. It improves our health, our well-being, doesn't it? Walking, whether you have a dog or not. The most popular activities, sunbathing, paddling and taking a dip, common activities as well. Dr. Lewis Elliott is environmental psychologist at the University of Exeter, lead author of the study. Were you at the beach over the weekend, Lewis?
I was indeed, yes, on Perranporth Beach in Cornwall, actually. It was lovely.
Beautiful, and I hope the sun was shining for you.
Very much so, yeah. I even got a little bit burnt. Fantastic.
No, you should know, as a boffin, that's the dangerous thing, Lewis. You shouldn't be advocating this sort of behaviour.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're quite right. You know, there are quite a lot of risks, as we know, to visiting these kinds of environments, not just those kind of simple things that I'm talking about, like, you know, sunburn and dehydration, those kind of things, but also more serious things like plastics pollution that we've heard a lot about in the media, and also sort of resistance to antimicrobial resistance in the aquatic environment. But what actually we've been looking at in this study is just how much public health benefit there could be to visiting these kinds of environments.
Am I right in thinking this is the first ever study to measure the importance of our coastline for our health and well-being?
Yeah, it's the first ever study to look at it on a population level scale. So what we did was actually take the biggest survey that we know of in the world, which actually exists in England, which is Natural England's Monitor of Engagement with the Natural Environment Survey. So this is a survey of over 300,000 people, fully representative of the English population. So we know exactly where people in the population are going and what they're doing when they're going there. And that's how we can start to work out the kind of the public health benefits on a population scale to England from doing these kinds of activities in coastal environments.
So that's what you can do with the figures, but how will you use those figures, Lewis? Well,
I mean, the main thing we're going to be doing is actually talking to public health policymakers and say, look, when you're making kind of marine policy decisions, why not take into account more often the kinds of things that people do for their leisure and recreation on these kinds of visits? Because at the moment, what's taken into account is things that like sort of maritime industry and conservation and wildlife, but actually sort of human health isn't taken into account. So by getting these population level numbers of how many people are visiting coastal environments and what they're doing, we can start to place economic values on actually the public health benefits that are gained from doing these activities.
And do you know what, Lewis? Our very own Matt Woodley led the beach clean last week, the BBC Radio Devon beach clean at Woolacombe on the North Devon coast. Yeah, and it's like two birds with one stone because, you know, picking up those straws and the plastics, but also getting some fresh air in your lungs and having a nice old walk at the same time.
Yeah, quite right. I mean, these kind of what we call co-benefits in science anyway, these kinds of things are very popular now. So things where you can both help the environment and also help yourself by getting sort of some health benefit as well. So I think, you know, these kind of 2-minute beach cleans and stuff are great initiatives that people can use to get, you know, a short time out in the natural environment, but also helping the environment as well as helping yourself. So, great.
So would you say that the seaside is more valuable than maybe we realised?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly don't have the data yet to sort of say this is more important than any other environment, for example, because we know that urban green spaces like parks and the countryside are hugely important to our health and well-being as well. But I think what we've sort of found in this study is actually that we might be underestimating the coast and marine environments as a public health resource at the moment.
I know why you went to the beach yesterday, Lewis. I know the real reason.
Yeah.
You could say you have a mole at the uni at Exeter, but I know the real reason you went to the beach.
Go on then.
You can claim it as overtime.
Ooh, no, wouldn't possibly.
I've given you a thought now, haven't I?
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Lewis, really good to hear from you. Thanks for all the information, and let's all use our beaches more and have a little tidy up while we're there, eh?
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, it was great to speak to you. And
You too.
I do encourage you, if you're interested in anything that we're doing, go to BlueHealth2020.eu where you can find much more about what this study forms a much larger part of. So thanks very much.
BlueHealth2020.eu.
Yep, that's correct.
Excellent. Lewis, have a great day, won't you?
All right, thanks very much.
You're more than welcome. Dr. Lewis Elliott, environmental psychologist at the University of Exeter. He's the lead author of that great study as well. 7:23, it's BBC Radio Devon. Team England have won medals.